Hey, what's up, everybody? So today I want to show you how to set up Mame with your Launchbox. Starting off, we will need to find our ROMs. I want to show you how to find those. I'm not going to tell you exactly where, but I'll give you enough browser terms so you can find them yourself. So on your Google browser, you want to type in Mame ROM sets and DAT files. Now it's going to be one of the first three options going to pop up. It's going to sound like it's a XXX site, but it's going to look like this. So once you find this screen from your search browser, this is what you're going to use. These are going to be torrent downloads, so be sure to have a torrent download program available. The one that I'm going to use is Qubit Torrent. I like it a lot. It works for me. There might be some better. There's a lot that are worse. So just use whatever you are comfortable with. Now, the one set that I want to be using for this demonstration is the non-merge set. Now, off the bat, the non-merge set is going to come in pretty hefty, and I want to say it's going to come around over 100 gigabytes. But after we use Launchbox to filter it out, we're going to knock that down to 12 gigabytes. You can use a non-merged, you can use a merge. That'll keep the files around 70 gigabytes, but you won't be able to filter out the ones you don't want. It's going to break existing games. So I would advise have about 160 gigs of memory on your drive when you're doing this. And then once we use Launchbox to filter out the ones that we want to keep, we can delete all that, and you're only going to use 12 gigabytes. But of course, there are going to be games that's going to require CHDs, and that's where you're really going to get a lot of memory usage from. So I'd advise just pick the ones you want. Most notably, the one that you'll want to use is the Golden Tee, Big Buck Hunter, but these games are going to be non-light gun setup. So you can play these with your mouse, you can play them with your joystick buttons, however you want to play it. Going light gun route, we'd have to do a lot more configurations. So this setup is just going to be for MAME in general and not specific to steering or light gun, etc. Just basic joystick and buttons and trackball. Okay, I'll go over the methods on picking the ones that you want, but pretty much it's going to be your Killer Instincts, NBA Jam, Big Buck Hunter. If you want to play those, I would advise just wait until we do light gun games for that. And that's really it, and that will still keep your CHDs under 30 gigabytes. They can get pretty heavy, but if you go through and get every CHD that works for all these games, the ones that do work is going to run 150 gigabytes in just the CHDs alone, and only 5 of them you'll actually ever use. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So you're here on this file, and you're going to pick your set. So you're going to come here where it says the MAME full sets. You're going to pick the set that you want. I'm using non-merged for this purpose, but you're welcome to use merge or split, but this method works best with non-merged. So just click on it. Your browser should come up, or your torrent will come up. I'm just going to hit no. You want to pick where you want to put this, so just put it somewhere in your bulk files. At this point, it really doesn't matter where you put it, because we're just going to filter it out with Launchbox and delete all these anyway. So just put it somewhere wherever you want. You don't need to create a folder because it's already going to be contained and merged in a folder 265 ROMs. You're going to want to leave all these checked. Don't go through pick and choose. Leave it all as is. You're going to hit your OK button. You're going to let the process begin, etc. So this may take you, depending on your internet speed, about an hour to maybe a full day. Who knows? But once you've done that, and you're going to download your Launchbox, you probably do this if you don't already have a Launchbox, but I would recommend doing this as a standalone, just to keep this from messing up your existing Launchbox builds and just make it a cleaner setup. So we're just going to hit download now. You're going to enter your email address. I've never used that one, so try to email me using that one. I'm never going to see it, but this would be the one I would use. You hit your download. It's going to give you a message, and then you just go check your email. Okay, and you're going to get a email from Launchbox. I'll just say download here. Just click download here. You're going to let it run its course. All right, and after it finishes up, you can just hit open file, and it's going to start its process. You hit OK, accept the terms, hit next. Pick where you want to put this. I want to put this in my D files. It's my Bolt drive. It's usually recommended to put it on your C drive and then run your ROMs from your D, but you just do it however you want to. And yeah, I did not want to put it there, so I'm just going to hit OK. And I want to rename this Launchbox. Actually, I'm just going to leave it Launchbox for now. But if you do have another Launchbox, you can rename it to whatever you want. You can rename it Launchbox 1, Launchbox 2, or just doesn't have to be a Launchbox name altogether. But hit next to continue on. I don't want to create start mini folder, so I'm not going to check that. Hit next. All that looks good. Hit install. And we just wait for it to finish up. Okay, and once the install finishes up, it's going to automatically try to load up. Now we're using, at this point, we're using version 13.12. There'll be another version coming out pretty soon, so by the time this video comes out, we may be up to 13.13. But you're going to have Steam with its auto load in. Now you can keep these on here if you want. You can delete them. I'm just going to delete this for purposes of my video. So I just want this to only contain my arcade games right now. So I'm just going to hit delete, but you don't have to. Because if you try to import these again, the process is not going to be automatic, and there'll be a few things that you'll have to do. I'm going to go ahead and delete this category since I'm not going to use it. Okay, so first thing that we're going to need to do is auto import or import our MAME ROM set. So I just hit import, go to MAME arcade full set, hit next. Arcade. If it doesn't say arcade, switch it to arcade. Hit next. Browse, and you're going to look for your folder. So just go back to wherever you put your MAME ROM set at. And I believe mine is right in here. All right, so the 265 ROMs non-merge is what I'm using. Whenever you do this, you could be at 267, 268. It doesn't matter. This process will work the same. And it's going to go to your, should say your full set version automatically. If it doesn't, just pull it down and go to a version that you have. Hit next. Automatically install and configure MAME recommended, so we'll do that. And by doing this first, Launchbox is going to do about 90% of the configuring for us on MAME. So that's definitely going to save a lot of work for us. Right here, you can connect your Launchbox games database, and that will just have you to where you can, while you're playing the game, your high scores will be updated within the community. Pretty cool deal. I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it later. Hit next. Leave that one checked for next. Through here, we're just going to check the ones that we're not going to check anything right now. Right now, we're just going to sort out what we don't want. So leave all this unchecked. Hit check none. Go to next. You could configure eMovies now if you have that, but I still wouldn't recommend doing any type of. I wouldn't recommend doing any type of media installation right now. Up here, leave that top one checked. You can prioritize wherever you want. Usually world or North America is what you want to use. I want to use world for now. It's a good general one to use. And variant to prioritize. Now this is where if you're running a 2-player cab or 4-player cab, you're going to choose, and Launchbox will automatically download that version of a ROM, because some ROMs are going to be 2-player and 4 version. That's going to be your Simpsons, that's going to be your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it's going to determine which ROM it wants you to take. I usually just have all these checked to skip, but I leave this unchecked. So hit next. Same over here. I'll leave all these unchecked because we can always modify these to where a controller or joystick can make these games play. They may not play good, but they'll play. I'll leave all these checked right here. All right, and this is going to take a moment for Launchbox to do, so give it about probably about 2 to 5 minutes, depending on the speed of your computer. All right, and then when you're done, we have all this right here. So we are looking at about 2978 on the games. Now you may have more and you may have a little less. I think last time I ran this, I think I had like 3,000 something. But I think that's because I left the play choice games on. But those are the Nintendo games, the arcade that has that little option menu up top. So those are really just the NES versions, but you can just pay to play them. So about 2978 is what you should have. Get finished. Now it's going to go through and get all the media for all the games, so Launchbox knows what game goes where, which game is this genre, etc. So this will probably take about a couple of minutes, and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, and now Launchbox is importing the games, so as you can tell by the bar. One playlist that's going to be very useful, or a couple of them, is going to be the vertical list and the CHD list. So we can go through the CHD list and we can mark every game that needs a CHD and get the CHDs from there. But I would only mark the ones that you want to play, because if you go through and get all the CHDs that's on a CHD list, you're going to have like 150 gigs of memories just in CHDs alone. But if you just pick the ones you want, then you might have around 20 to 30 gigs of CHDs. All right, first thing I like to do is change my view and go to list view. And it just gives me a much better, cleaner area to look at. Change my platform categories, or change it to platform categories if it's not on that, and that will bring up all these playlists. And I'll show you here, CHD required. So all these games right here is what we'll need a CHDs for. So that's a lot of them, and some of these just play crappy. I want to go over additional versions, and that's on these games right here. So if you go to a Street Fighter 3 and the JoJo game, you actually have versions to where they don't need to have a CHD. And I'll show you how to change that. By doing that, you'll save yourself a lot of memory just by not using them. I think there's superior versions as well, because when you're running the CHD, the first time you run it, it takes about an hour before it'll actually play. You'll see play version and all these versions right here. So we'll go to edit metadata, come to additional apps, and we'll kind of pull this one out, and you see the no CHD versions. Now, the one that you normally want is the one with the highest number. What these numbers mean is when this version was made. So you want the latest version. The first 299 is the year, the next 2 is the month, and the last 2 is the day. I'm just going to click on that, make it my default. And now I can play this game without needing a CHD, but also it will have Launchbox prompt this as the main image. And how we use Launchbox to filter all this out is we're going to export all these games to another folder, but it's only going to export the ones that we have as the default game. So let's go back to JoJo's Adventure and look at play version, and you see all these games. So whenever we export this out, the only ROM that's going to be exported is this one right here. So after we've exported these into the other folder, we can just delete all of these. And that's how we knock this down to just 12 gigabytes. And we're going to do this again to the Street Fighter ones. So we'll have the new generation, second, and third, because all of these will need CHDs. So let's make them to where they don't need CHDs. So we go to edit metadata, additional apps, go with this one here, hit make default, hit yes, and okay, and go ahead and do it for Second Impact and Third Strike as well. Okay, and once you're done with that, we're going to go do the same thing, but check out a couple more games for the same reason. So go to your 4-player game, and we're going to come all the way down to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's see. Yeah, so right here, I can look on the file, and it has the 4-player as the default, so we don't want that if we're running 2 players. If you're running 4-player, then of course, this is perfect. But if you're not, you'll want to change the version. The reason being is in the arcade, for the 4-player version, it is you have to be the player that you have the side for. So if you're 1 player, then you're always going to be, I think, Leonardo. If you're player 2, you're always going to be Michelangelo. You don't have a screen select option. So let's go to additional apps, and we'll pick the 2-player version. Now, I think for this game in particular, the TME2 PJ is a superior version. I think Japan version offers some things that the USA version doesn't. But of course, if you want the USA version, then you will just go with the that Oceania. So, you know, what does it say USA? The Oceania is usually defaulted as the USA version, but I want the Japan version. So I'll make that my default. Hit yes, hit OK. And I think that's it for my problem games. We'll go to 2 players, and let's go to Double Dragon. We're going to change Double Dragon 3 because some of y'all might not know there's 2 different versions of Double Dragon 3. You have the Japanese, and then you have the American version. So the American version pretty much just introduces the pay to win, or it's like the first pay to win game. And if you play the Japanese version, you actually get an extra character unlocked, and you also don't have a pay to win element. Everything's normally unlocked right off the bat. But that's up to you on which style that you want to play with. Normally, I'll just play the Japanese version. So let's go to edit metadata. Come to our additional apps, and then I'm just going to click on the Japanese. I'll make that my default version. Hit yes, hit OK. And that is it for that little bit of fine tuning. And let's go ahead and start a game just to make sure that this all does run. I'm very confident it will. So we'll do both the Rosetta Stone. And also gives me a chance to show you the difference if you're not familiar with it. So we'll get some coins in. I'm just using my keyboard right now because we haven't set up our joysticks yet. All right, so in America, I see normally I can just come in here, but the store's not open because we don't need the store. Get out, and that just shows you everything works. All right, so continuing on, let's go ahead and export these and start filtering these out. So go to your arcade. This is where it shows all your games. You should have a 2978 or 2978 or 3000 something of 3000 something. Anyways, click Control A, give it a second, and it's going to highlight all these. Come up to Tools, and you're going to come down to File Management and go to Export Copy ROM Files to New Folder. Hit yes, and I just put it in, and we'll put it in the Mame ROMs file. So back up to your drive, find your Launchbox that you're using, go to your emulators, open up your Mame, and go to the ROMs folder. And that's where I want to put it. So it's going to take a minute to do that. A few minutes actually, so let's go ahead, grab a drink, grab something to eat. It's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, so after that's completed, we'll need to do one more thing. Make sure you leave all this highlighted. If it's not, just go ahead and highlight it all again. And we're going to need to do a bulk change on where all this launches from. So right now we have it launching just from our basic folder that we had it originally. Highlight everything. You want to come up here to Tools, go to File Management, and we're going to hit Change ROMs Folder Path for Selected Games. Click on that. And we're going to go to our Launchbox emulators. So Launchbox emulators, Mame 265. And go back to our ROMs where we put all our new ROMs at. Hit Select Folder. It's going to ask us if we want to do this. Hit yes. Hit yes. Now 4135, that's all the games that we are going to clear out. So we're going to be 4100 short. That's all the clones and stuff that we're not going to use. So hit yes. It's changing the folder path. Okay, and as you can see, now all these games will play from where we put all our new games at. Okay, now go ahead and minimize this. Open up your folder. Now you can just go ahead and delete all the ROMs that we had previously. So I put mine in my split Mame. These are my non-merge that I used. And I can just delete it now because we no longer need it. And then we can verify all our games is where they need to be. Go into your Launchbox, emulators, Mame 265, ROMs, and this is all the ones that we've took out. And then we can right click on it and show their property values. And we are at 11.9 gigabytes. So that's how you lighten up the load on your games here. Now I want to do a couple of CHDs. I know that I'm going to want and need them. But, you know, like I said, you can come through here, go to your CHD folder. You may need to bring all this back over. Yeah. And just pick the ones that you want. I'm just going to grab the D-Layer and Killer Instincts. This will show you all how to do it. So minimize it, and we're going to go back to the website where we got our ROMs in the first place. And you're going to see one called Mame CHDs. You can go ahead and click on it. Just set. Yeah, should bring it up. Okay, so after your torrent program comes up and it's going to do all its processing, instead of downloading them all like we did with the ROMs, hit none. And you're only going to come through here and check the ones that you want. So the ones I want to grab for demonstration purposes is going to be a D-Layer and Killer Instinct. So it's going to be KINS. But, you know, like I said, you can go through here and grab the ones you want, but you will need to know the file name, and you actually find that right through here. It'll say file, and then if you want Candy Puzzle, that's how you find it. But the ones I'm grabbing is Dragon's Lair. So that's D layer. So I know that's the one I'm looking for. So let me get back to my program here. And down here, it tells me that just for those two alone, that's going to be 11 gigabytes. I know the Dragon's Lair one is pretty big. But hit OK when you select all the ones that you want. And then it's going to get the process here started. Now, I've already downloaded all the CHDs, so I'm just going to go straight to the ones that I want. So they're going to look like this in their folders, and all you're going to do is grab the ones that you need, and you're going to put them with your ROMs. So I'm going to look for my D layer and my Killer Instinct. And then I'm just going to copy them over, or you can just cut them out. Your choice. Put them in my Mame ROMs, and then you're just going to throw them in here with your files. And it'll probably take a few minutes, depending on how much you're moving around. So I'm just moving these two. It's going to take roughly 3 minutes. So I'll be back whenever this has completed. Okay, and whenever you're done with your CHD copying to your folder up here, I'll go ahead and sort out by type. So then you'll have your CHDs in your folder, and then you'll have the rest of your ROMs. All right, next, let's go ahead and clear out the games that we didn't want from Launchbox cache, because right now, if I right click and go to play version, it's still going to show those other versions that's really not on our system. So let's go ahead and clean that up. All right, you're going to come up to your tools, come down to, all right, sorry, tools, audit. All right, one more time. Tools, you're going to go to scan, and we're going to go for removed ROMs in any platform. And it's just going to run right through. Okay, and we're going to hit yes to confirm that. And now when I click on my game, it only shows the game that we do have. And let's go ahead and test it out to make sure that this does work. And this also is a CHD game, so if the CHD itself isn't on the game, it's not going to load it. For the games that have the visuals kind of off like this, you actually hit tab on your keyboard and go to video options, and then you can just change the layout like this. So, you know, it's pretty cool. Zoom to area, leave that turned off for this game. Now, there's some pretty cool artwork and bezels for this game, so I would definitely advise try that if you can find them. I'll do that in an updated video and show you some other cool things that we can do with this. Okay, confirm this works. I confirm that the CHDs are working. So let's go ahead and escape out of this and finish this up. Okay, so if you have the big box license, all you need to do is just put your big box license in your Launchbox, and this will enable you to, of course, use the big box and use all other cool types of media. I already have my license pulled out, so you can just go to any of your other Launchbox builds where you do have the license, and you would just copy and paste it inside your Launchbox. Okay, now my license is here. I want to relaunch my Launchbox, and it's going to show my name up here and that I'm running a premium version. So of course, if you're running your license, it's going to have your name and your premium version. Also, do make sure you have a lifetime license if you're on a limited or 1-year license. Once that license expires, then you won't be able to use it with a newer version. You can only use it for the latest version of Launchbox that does come out, and you'll be prompted with this. I just hit don't show this again for this version, hit close. And so this next part is going to be for big box users, and we're going to want videos for all this. If we just go straight to Launchbox, it's not going to have any media for these categories. So I'll show you what I use to get media for all that. You want to come up here to download, update, media, and metadata. I apologize. Tools, download. You're going to go to platform, playlist, category, theme, videos. You want to have all these right here and they'll be checked. You just can't get videos for these, but I'll show you how we can customize those later on in a different video. This, I like to change this up. This will give you your basic arcade classic you're all used to seeing. I like these two right here better. They're just more energetic and more modern. I'll leave that one as is. Ultimate, I think I'll go with the 80s. I think the 80s is good. We can preview it here. All right, the 80s is good, but the one I use on the Uncle Rick build, I know some of y'all loved it. This is the one that I used for that one. Hit OK. And then it's just going to download everything here. It's really not going to take that long, maybe a minute, 2 minutes. Okay, now this next part's for everybody. We haven't gotten all our media yet for all our games, so I just want to make sure that we had only the games that we wanted to mess with, just to lessen the load of that process. All right, so now that we got all the media for categories covered, let's go ahead and get started for media on our games itself. So go to your arcade, just click on one, and just like last time, we're going to Control A, and it's going to highlight all our games. Go to Tools, Download, Update metadata and media for selected games. Just hit Next. Hit Next. Now the ones you want through here, we're just going to go light on only the ones that we need. You hit advertisement front. You got to remember these are arcade games. So being arcade games, they never technically had actual boxes, but Launchbox uses the flyers. Come down. If you have marquees, you can check that for marquees. You can really select all you want, but it's just the basics of what you need. Okay, you're going to need clear logos. Okay, and your screenshot. I prefer the gameplay, some prefer the game title. Just use whichever one that you prefer yourself. Okay, and a fan art background. And that's going to give us the loading and exiting out screens within Launchbox. So go ahead and hit Next. Now here's going to be page, so this is where you can get the game videos, the cover videos, and other things that you need, but this is a premium thing, so I have to pay again for that. But go ahead and hit Next. If you don't want to do that, we're not doing that right now. Download bezels. I do this, and I prefer to take the only system bezel first, and then coming back again and doing the theme bezels. The reason I do that is if you go with theme, then fall back to system bezels, you don't have any system bezels at that point. It's just going to give you a generic arcade bezel. So I prefer to use only system bezels. But you can also use no bezels. If you're running a 4x3, then you probably have no point for any bezels at all. Just hit recommend at the middle, hit finish, and we're going to allow this to do what it needs to do. Now, while it's doing this, we haven't set up the controls for our MAME yet. So let's go ahead and set up our MAME and what we need to do. So go ahead and right click. Come down to file management and open game folder. Pop this down to your MAME, and we want to open up the Mame application here. And there's a lot in here that we can change, but for now, I just want to get you going, and we're going to get the control started. So go to your general settings, come to your input assignments, and we're going to start with player 1 controls. And then go ahead and delete all these, because Mame will assume which controllers and which side you want to work with. MRK, for example, Mame sees my player 1 side as my player 2 side. I don't like that, so we're just going to go this route first. I have all these, hit delete, put all these to none, and then just map your up, down, left, right. So up, down, left, and right. We're not going to map these out right now. These are going to be for your 2-player stick games like Karate Champ and Smash TV. Now, player 1, player 2, player 3. Imagine a Street Fighter style cabinet. So if you're running a 6-button or even an 8-button like I am, this is the way I prefer to map it. And a lot of probably the default in the way a lot of people have theirs map. So player number buttons 1, 2, and 3 is going to be your top 3 buttons. So of course I wanted to delete all these out. All right, so I have these 8 keys deleted. Yeah, I want it. These will be from my top 3, and we're going to go left to right. All right, so it's going to be my furthest top left. So my top middle, my top right, or if you're on the 8 button, your top third. Now we're going to go down to our bottom row, bottom left, bottom middle, bottom third. 7 is going to be, if you're running it an 8 button, so 7 is going to be your top right, and of course your bottom right. And then we can just leave these blank, or you can just delete these out. We're going to go to our start select. So this is going to be your start button. And I usually just leave that as is, and then I just hit it with my arcade panel. So this will be my start button. Then this will be my select or coin button. All right, and all that looks good. I'm not going to mess with any of this. Hit my escape, and we're going to go to player 2 and repeat the same process. So I'm just going to delete these top 4. All right, and then buttons 1 through 8, I want to delete all these. And of course, this will be my top 3. This will be my top left, top middle, top third or right. My bottom buttons, bottom left, bottom middle, bottom right, my uppermost right. I think I had that one disconnected. No biggie, I never use it. All right, no biggies. So I think I have these 2 unplugged on my machine. No worries, it works for you. That's how you do it. And then of course your start and select. Player 2 start. Player 2 coin. All right, and that's it for player 2. Go ahead and escape out. You'll go to other controls, and these are the ones that we have to worry about up here. So your player won't start again. Player 2 start. Player 1 coin. Player 2 coin. And that is all we got to worry about here. Return to previous menu. Return to previous menu. And save. Be sure to save. If you don't save, you'll have to redo all those inputs all over again. Now, there's a lot more we can do here, and I will go into that in a later video for more advanced things we can do. But as far as gameplay goes and get started, I mean, that's it. We are ready to play. So all this is downloading still. So I want to let this finish up downloading before I jump into anything. Actually, I can test something out real quick. So we're just going to open up Mame as is and not through Launchbox. And this will give me a chance to test out these controls. So, of course, let's start off with Street Fighter. And you want to always pick available. This will show you everything that you have available on your system. And we'll go with alpha, why not? Alright, here keyboard continue, game pops up. I got my player 1 coin, player 2 coin, player 1 start. Got my Ryu going on. We'll go with normal. Stuff goes too fast for me sometimes. Alright, punch. Middle punch. Strong punch. Kick, middle kick. Alright, so we are good here. Now, if you do have an issue with the screen tearing, I know I do on my monitor, you can just come down to general settings, go to video options, and then you can just turn on, wait for vertical sync, and probably screen refresh rate as well, but this usually does the job for me. And let's save those settings, of course. And as always, want to do that little blackout, come back in anytime you change something. Let's test Street Fighter 2 out. I know I used to have some screen tearing on that one as well. And I'll show you how to do the no nag as well in a later video when I do some more updating on this. Okay, we got our coins in. Player start. In and Japan. Alright, that looks good. Got a fireball, I can do my kick. And hit escape. Oh, and escape's going to be the button that you'll use to exit your games. Almost forgot to mention that part. And we are still downloading. So yeah, it's going to take a while to get all your media here. Of course, the more media that you pick to download, just the longer it's going to take. Okay, another thing that we can do is we need to set up an exit button. So however you want to do this on your arcade, you can have your own exit button. You can just map the button escape to it, or you can use a combination of buttons. So since I don't have an escape button on my arcade cabinets, I choose to use a combination of buttons, which my combination is player 1 and coin 1 to get out of games. So this is how I do it. You will go to your input assignments, come to your user interface, and you're going to have the cancel button. Now choose to leave that as escape along with whatever I want to map it with. So I'm just going to double click on this. Right, then click on it again and hit my escape. So now that is my player 1 coin and player 2 coin, or I can use escape, and that's how I can exit out games. And of course, be sure to save your settings. And I'm going to go ahead and jump in a game and test that out. Always test your stuff out before moving forward, FYI. Got it loading. I want to start the game. Going to hit my button combination. All right, and I got it out of the game. So you will use that same method to get out of games when you're inside Launchbox. Okay, and I recommend just let this finish up for you for all your media. Me, I'm just going to go ahead and continue moving forward now so you can get this video done. All right, so from here, now that we got your media, you can go to your image groups and change it to, go to view and change that to images view. And then you'll start seeing these images pop up. You should have all the images by this point if you let it run through. And not advancing forward like I have. You can also hit your F5 button and that will help you refresh some of this. So as far as this goes, if you're not going to go into big box, you're done. So these games are ready to play. You got your control set up. You can just double click on it and it's going to boot right up for you. Go ahead and get out of this with my button combination. Now at this point, as you see, there's no bezels yet. The bezels are actually the last thing to download. So after all this gets downloaded, then the bezels are going to download. So that's why you didn't see any bezels. But I want to go ahead and continue and go into big box for those of you who want to go into big box after this. So you'll just click your big box. Yeah. Go ahead and stop this. So mine's not going to be the prettiest big box at the moment. Yours is going to look a lot better than mine. But come to your menu, go to big box. And give it a minute before it opens. All right, and here we go. We have our big box open. So this is going to be the default browser. And you won't be able to pick any other categories right now because all we have is the arcade one. And this is just what it looks like. Like I said, mine doesn't look the best right now because I didn't let all the media finish downloading. So I'm just going to escape out of that. But yeah, you can see it comes up. Now, the first time you jump into this, it's going to take a minute for everything to come up smooth. Launchbox will have to do an image catch on all your stuff. I want to escape out of this. The one I like to use myself personally is this one right here. Let me find it. You're going to go to Manage Themes. Go to Available. And these are all very good themes. The one that I use for my Rick build is just good old basic Unified. So you can just click on Unified here, if that's the one you want, and you can install it. And after it installs, you're going to have to let Launchbox know that's the one that you want to use. All right, so we're waiting. We are waiting. I hate waiting. All right, now I want to apply this as my main theme. Hit yes. Escape back out. That looks different. And now we have a more traditional front end that we're kind of used to seeing. So it's going to be more like the coin op stuff. Or hyperspin. Now I'll get into more detail on what to do when you actually get some videos in here. We don't have any videos yet, but this is kind of what it looks like. I prefer this one much better. Let's hop into a game. It's an armor car. I want to play. Normally you would have a loading screen right here, but again, I didn't let mine finish, so that's why it didn't populate. Good here. I'm going to use my escape command to get out of here. All right, and everyone, that is it. So you have Mame going along with your Launchbox, and if you want big boxes, what you do. I'm going to do another video on top of this. I'm going to go into details to show you how to get more videos, how to do the game theme videos to really make this pop out. And I'll make a more detailed video about Mame and some of the cool things you can do with it and break down a lot of the internals of what Mame actually does, so it kind of helps you customize it yourself to what you need. Anyways, thank you. This kind of went on longer than I thought it would, but I hope this gets you up and running. Now, I will be doing another non-light gun Mame video that's going to be for adding on to a light gun build. So it's going to be within the Uncle Rick, or just my send-in light gun series of 2024 when I get started, and we're going to be able to run everything without conflicting controls against each other. Anyways, I hope y'all have a good day, and I will see you all later.